Yeah, that I kind of
Okay, I thought it's some artistic gestures, but
and then some books and some presents from Thailand.
Okay, so yeah, now it's recording and it's live on YouTube. Yes.
we're live. Woohoo.
Yeah. So welcome everyone to Words of Type Conversation, Ep.3. Words of Type conversations are live discussions broadcasted online and for free. There are discussions about topics related to typography. At each episode, we invite 5 guests from various backgrounds, but still connected one way or another with the topic. And today we'll be talking about women in typography today. So let me first say that I'm super happy and honored to have these great guests in the alphabetical order of the last names. Well, I call you if you could wave your hand so people can see you. Marie Boulanger, you are a French and British type designer and art director, and you are now the leader of design team at Monotype in London. Veronika Burian, you founded together with Jose Scaglione the international type foundry Type Together, one of the sponsors of Words of Type. And you are also one of the founding members of Alphabets and co-chairwoman of Grandchamp Foundation. Min Yang, you are a typographer and consultant specializing in Japanese and Korean scripts. You worked for Morisawa before creating your own studio, Studio M- in Tokyo, and you are working regularly for companies across the world, such as Google, Adobe, Dynamo, and Colophon. And then Amy, you call yourself a type nerd, and you're a design educator at State University of New York at New Paltz in the US. You're also one of the founding members of Alphabets, and you're cooking the Alphabet Soup 2015-2025, which we could maybe talk about later. Then Alice, you're a French type designer and researcher. You also teach at ANRT in Nancy, ECAL in Lausanne, and EPHE in Paris-Sorbonne. You are the main researcher in the Women in Type project at University of Reading with Professor Fiona Ross, and which is about women's contribution to the production of typefaces throughout the industrial era within 2 companies, Monotype and Linotype. And we also have a special guest, Laura Brunner. I've invited you, and with Leonie Martin, you have your graphic design and typography studio, TurboType, based in Leipzig and Offenbach in Germany. And I asked you to join as a surprise guest, which is a nice way to say quite last minute. Thank you for coming to our discussion today, because you were one of the curators of the exhibition called Saying Bold Stories, ? Type design by women and queers in the 20th and 21st centuries, which was held last year at the Klingspor Museum at Offenbach. And I thought that it would be really nice to have you joining our discussion today about women in typography. So before we start, please know that discussion is about whatever you, the guests, want to talk and share. I'm not a professional journalist, so yeah, I'm just maybe pretending to be for a couple of hours. So the thread of our discussions can be a bit rambling, but that's, it's going to be sort of a discussion at a cafe or at a bar, which can be also nice. And then after that, I open the Q&A channel with the members audience who may have questions for all of you. So, okay, I'm dropping a few questions here as ideas. So maybe analysis and état des lieux, I don't know how to translate that in English, of women in the type design and typography industry. And then being a woman in a corporate environment or working with corporate clients. Then evolution in the industry since you began your career, if you have seen any, and so on. And then finding a personal/professional life balance. That could be also a very interesting topic to talk about. And then thoughts about tomorrow, solutions, initiatives, anecdotes, and stories. ... Yeah, please.
Sounds
Whoever
perfect.
wants. Yeah.
Let's go.
welcome everyone as well who's watching. I hope there are people watching.
Let me see how many. I'm also like.
One thing I'd like to say first is that my partner is coming home soon, and whenever he comes home, my dogs will bark so hard. So I'm gonna mute myself right away if that happens. But just
It's
to let you
okay.
know, like if like whoa happens, like it's not like there's some like crime going on. It's just they're just excited to see the daddy.
Just the dogs.
That can happen with mine as well. I mean, she's sleeping right now, but it's possible that at some point she'll bark, but no worries. Or the cat will appear. So the classic, the cat with the
Yeah, I can probably say that will happen for me as well. He's very attention seeking.
Oh.
Well, it's funny. It's either cats or dogs. It's never some other kind of animal.
Right, like birds. Birds are really smart too. Like, oh, that's gonna become another like long conversation, so I'm not gonna keep going.
So you have birds.
No, but I'm a professional dog trainer as well, and my teacher used to train birds. So
Oh,
she showed me all these like videos about training them like specific behaviors, and they are almost as smart as like dolphins. So
wow. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
sorry.
Animals much smarter than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
Wait, Min Young, I have a question for you. What has dog training taught you about like type designers and how to talk to clients?
Amazing question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. So I got the license in 2023 and started studying from 2022. And I became freelance in 2020. So like right in the beginning of COVID. And as you know, I spent my early career in like Japanese companies. And because a lot of Asian companies are, based on seniorities and a lot of like how should I put this gently, like harassments and so on. So there were a lot of pressures and stresses and and you cannot really be direct too in Japanese culture. Like even if the things need to move fast or need to be efficient, you need to always find a way to deliver it really delicately or and it was always a really hard thing for me because even though I grew up in Japan, I am not like that. I am a very direct person. And through dog training, I got to learn like positive reinforcement. Not to be like, not do not get frustrated, like always find a way to positively reinforce someone else. Like people are much worse than animals, so it doesn't always work, but it gives me less stress too. So that's the biggest thing.
I love that.
Sorry, please.
No, I was going to say I love that. I love that positive reinforcement is what you took away, and that you had to go to dog training rather than a corporate environment to find it.
Exactly. Like we also had to take like people coaching classes as well when I was an employee, but that didn't work. And that doesn't work, but positive reinforcement in dog training gave me the realization.
I do that for I manage a team of 5 people, and I always do this when I ask them to come into the office. I bring them treats, and I actually told them this the other day. I'm like, I'm literally conditioning you to associate the office with like delicious pastries and chocolate. They felt a little bit manipulated, but it works. They come back. So
Lure them in.
God, please, I hope they don't see this and think, oh, wow, so they really see us as dogs. That is not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Hmm. But yeah, it's true that working as a team leader or within the team, it never works to get frustrated or to kind of be aggressive, or it needs to remain, I find, on a very respectful level. And of course, sometimes there are situations where you need to be very clear, but that you don't have to force aggressively onto people. And one thing that I find helps in leadership is really trying to be, no, not trying, but to be empathic. So to understand the other person's situation, what is going on around them. So to see them as a complete person and not just as somebody who works that many hours for your company, but really understand what's going on around them. We have a team that is spread around the globe. We don't have an office, so I can't really do the thing with the chocolates. Yeah. Our chocolate, let's say, is the our TT Tap Together retreats that we do once a year. There's a lot of well, chocolate not so much, a lot of alcohol, more.
Also works.
and good food and stuff. But so the team is in very different situation. I mean, we have Rabab, she sits in Lebanon, she's in Beirut. So you can imagine the last months or years have been really hard. And that has an influence on the work, of course, in a way, but trying to figure out how to support them. Or we have, well, Elena, she was doing her PhD, another thing, so it's really important to understand and be empathetic and respectful. At the same time, also, of course, pushing and demanding, yeah, but yeah, in a respectful way.
Yeah, definitely. And if you don't mind, I would love to actually ask you what you think about something and maybe the whole group as well. So I'm coming in probably from the most corporate position out of all of us. And I see this, every day, like this is my everyday life. And I think about it a lot, but I have found it interesting in my own leadership and management journey. So I've been in this position for about 18 months now, leading the team. And I have found it fascinating how everything people agree makes a good leader. So empathy, everything that you've just listed, Veronika, like, listening, making space, patience, that's traditionally considered to be feminine qualities, right? But then you have this image that being feminine in business is bad and is weak. And I've always found the juxtaposition of those two things kind of really weird. Like, if you go in, like, I can't be a leader who's aggressive and mean and a bully, and I don't want to be. I would never want to be, but also it doesn't work. And I found it really, fascinating how there's this really kind of bizarre description of ideal leadership, and it seems to match, in my opinion, things that have been ascribed to more feminine parts of humanity, but then female leadership is still really rare. So I found that really interesting. I don't know if anyone has thoughts about that.
That's a very good point. Like, I've never really thought about that way, but you're so true. Like,
No, totally. I think it's a very old way of thinking about management and leadership. And if you read up about kind of where the future, where the, let's say, future leaders or what the skill set is, it's the social skills. It's the very, it's not the bullying, it's not the aggressiveness, it's not, and I would not want to make this cut of, oh, this is female and this is male.
Me neither.
Such nonsense, because we all have parts that can be like this. You can also have very aggressive women. It's not.
Right.
And bullies. So, but yeah.
No,
I-
you go.
what you're saying here, I think resonates also with what I experience in teaching as well. And what I wanted to say is that I also think the perceptions of what makes a good leader, or in that respect, also a good teacher, is something that has evolved through times. And if I look at, people who were teaching or leading design departments, type design departments in the past, maybe they would have had more of that, I don't want to say bullying, but maybe more of a like not very empathetic, or very kind of direct style, saying this is wrong and this is right. Whereas now I can see that the relationship that we build with students is really changing, and that this is really not what they would expect from their teachers. And so yes, I think just to say that probably things have evolved in that direction. And so for me, it's a very good development as well, that the social skills are really becoming essential for dealing with people, whether it's in a corporate environment or in an educational environment.
Definitely. But the difficulty is that, like, as the female worker or leader or any position, you also kind of need to be stronger than other male same position people should be. You know what I mean? Like, because maybe it's especially in Asia, but people tend to think you're soft or like a pushover just because you're a woman. So I have to show them that I am definitely like, do not tolerate those things in a very fierce way, even though I want to be very soft and gentle and smiley every time, because who wants to be like having a little lines here, right? But like, you need to be sometimes, and that is really unnecessary stress we need to carry. Not sure how it's like in Europe or US.
Amy, what's your experience with the teaching environment?
Well, sorry, back to the dog training. I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep going back to that because like a couple years ago, I did a talk at it was sort of connected with the Letterform Archive at the San Francisco Public Library about teaching and teaching typography on the web and sort of how to find this balance. And my opening slide was sort of like, teaching is like this combination of dog training and stand-up comedy. And like, it is these kind of like soft skills of reading the room, of kind of sort of what Alice was saying in terms of trying to meet your students where they are, but also give them what they're there for, right? And so I think it has changed dramatically, just just generally. I mean, I've been teaching now for 15 years, and there is a change, right? There's a new kind of generation of people. A lot of the students now are kind of scarred by what their experiences were in COVID when they were in high school or earlier now, so that like the like mass trauma that they're all experiencing, I think, has also kind of, impacted the way we all do everything. But I think specifically in teaching, kind of had to like recalibrate a little bit, and not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, just a little bit different, a little bit more understanding of the kind of complexities of everybody's lives, and that's kind of what you were mentioning too, in terms of this kind of corporate environment, like finding these ways of understanding different people's experiences and meeting them where they are in a bit.
Yeah, I think that it's really interesting to hear different experiences, like from all of you, between corporate or teaching worlds and between Asia and Europe and the US, because like what Min mentioned, this kind of view of women in the corporate world in Asia, you're either a soft lady, like a precious thing, delicate thing that you very fragile, or if whenever you show some kind of a strength, like anything that doesn't go with that image, you would directly be seen as a strong woman, and that's never really a positive thing, especially if that's a topic that is being discussed among men. So yeah, and I also being in France and having lived more in Europe rather than in China, like I can feel this difference and also feel that this difference needs to change. And I wonder like how would be the best ways, or if there are any like good ways to slightly nudge things towards some kind of a better, like an improvement in general, like not only in typography industry, but in general. Like, yeah.
I would love to say something there to speak to that. First of all, I think it's really important, everything that you've just outlined, you know, the fact that we work and live in different environments, different countries, we are different ages, we do different things. I think that really speaks to the stupidity of, you know, trying to encapsulate what it is like to be a woman. You know, there's so many ways of being a woman across the world. It's different for everyone. There's no like cookie cutter solution. And I think, you know, it's all good. If things are better for you, it's all great to say it and celebrate that. But there are many women for whom it's not better, and perhaps some for whom it's worse. So I just want to acknowledge that as a first thing. And then a second thing, speaking of, I don't know if it's a solution, but it's something I realized. I'm sure that a lot of you will relate to this, and maybe even some people listening. Like, I always felt like I had to try so hard. I don't mean like, oh yeah, I'm working. I mean like try so hard, like be the best, work myself out, burn myself out, give everything that I have, say yes to everything, you know, be the best everywhere to everybody. First of all, you can't. And then, I don't know, over the past couple of years, I kind of started to realize that I don't need to do this much. I don't need to do that to myself. Like, sometimes I can be mediocre, and that's great. Like, and that realization was, it was a therapy realization, not a work realization, like really changed my life. Like, accepting that actually I don't need to be exceptional to be happy, successful, and respected. Like, great if I am, and you know, great to anybody who is. I'm not diminishing anybody on this call's accomplishments, but like, we're so tired, all of us, all the time, from doing everything. And my personal solution is just to do less, and like being happy with just establishing a new kind of baseline in my own brain for what's acceptable. And I think that is, for me at least, it has been part of it. It's part of feeling less exhausted, less burnt out. I also feel like I have more to give to my team in the context of my work, because I just care less about how I appear or like what I do, just focusing on other things. So I don't know, maybe something of that nature, and kind of speaks to what you were saying, Min, as well. Like, so much of that pressure is in other people's perception, right? And then when you care less, it just has a lot less impact on you.
That's really good.
But then would you put also less pressure to the members of your team?
Well, it's a great question, and I really ask myself that every day, because of course I want, so just to explain what I do, I don't do any type design at Monotype. I'm not in the Monotype studio. I lead the in-house design team. So that's like art direction for internal campaigns, for events, for any design asset that is made by Monotype, including typeface promotion, but not the type itself. And I want to get good results out of them. I want to motivate them. I want to inspire them. but I also don't want them to feel miserable. I don't want them to be burnt out. And I don't respect them less if they give not even 100%, like, I don't know, 70%. I think that's still fine. You know, like I think management has helped me to it weirdly put less pressure on myself because I don't respect my team less if, yeah, I don't know, they're less motivated, they're less inspired, they're tired, they're sad, they're going through something. Like, we all have complex lives. So weirdly, it's helped me, which I know sounds bizarre because I think a lot of people think that management is more stress and more responsibility, and it is, but it also opens you up to so many people. And because you invest time in coaching, I mean, as you were saying, you know, Alice and Amy, like, same as teaching, you really put yourself at their level, and that opens up your world. I think it did for me.
I think that what you say, yeah, definitely resonates. And what I've found over the years as well, what's really helped me is to have a diversity of role models around. So, you know, seeing how people, colleagues, my former managers at like I had a fantastic first manager at Monotype who was Robin Nicholas, and he was so good at communicating. Like he was not an ego at all, and he was delegating and, you know, sharing responsibilities with his entire team and things like this. And I know that he had a lot of influence on me, and I think many, you know, male and female colleagues, in the way they will deal with like work-life balance, for instance, or their approach to clients, or all these things. That for me, the way I function is that I will kind of pick ways of handling situations from different people, or, you know, managing a career. Like I remember when starting in type design, there were very few female role models, for instance. And I know that Veronika was one of the few that was, you know, there and making a fantastic career. And it was really inspiring. And for me, it's always the way things have functioned for me, is to like look up at people and see, you know, how do they manage, how do they deal with things, and try to, you know, take all the good bits out of it to see how you can build like a professional life, and also how you balance it with your personal life as well.
But yeah, it's a hard path. I mean, it's not easy, you know. I can tell you. And okay, I'm from a kind of a generation, let's say, where we as women in particular, or just generally, we're told work, work, work. You know, that's where life is. And I mean, for a long time, I did not feel it as pressure at all, because I was lucky enough to find something that I really appreciated, I really love, that I like doing and want to excel at. But yes, I mean, it was like 15, 16 hours a day working, normal, yeah, at the beginning. And okay, I don't do that. But with a growing team, we are 20 now, it's becoming sometimes quite difficult as still. And so I'm at the moment in a state where I'm dealing with quite a lot of responsibilities, pressures from many different sides, also because about 2 years ago, well, it was my own fault because I started to change the direction of the company a little bit. A slightly different focus, and that had quite some results or consequences that we are at the moment dealing with. But yes, the ideal is to let go, and with age, that becoming even more important to understand what that means, to let go. And I second this thing about delegating, to giving responsibility to your team members. That's such a motivation for the team, yeah, that they understand, they take it as their own, they understand they are okay. My decisions, they really count, you know. It's if I make a mistake, okay, you know, you have to honor it. And so that's really, really important. Yeah. But this whole work-life balance, I don't know. I mean, I am doing other things, so it's important to get your head out and be away from the screen, of course. But I still love my job.
This is something where I can jump in even if I'm not in the classical corporate environment, but I have my studio with my partner Leonie, so we are working the two of us as a team. So no team leader, but we're all discussing the both of us together. And the way we are working, I mean, we are full-time working together now for 5 years, I guess. Before it was during our studies for 3 more years in part-time, besides the studies. And we were talking about this so much, like how do we want to work together? How can we imagine our teamwork, and also outside of our team with other people that we come together, and what we consider as a kind of feminist way of working, because this measuring yourself and other people by their work and the value of the projects and with your achievements and the outcome of everything is something that I'd say is so capitalist and patriarchy, like it's tied to patriarchy. So this is something that I think everybody could be happy about getting rid of it. So we were discussing a lot, what does it mean for our values to take this into our practice, everyday life, into our professional practice. And for us, this means that we give a lot of effort to make space for the relationships, our personal relationship, but also to the clients, to the people who we cooperate with, we work with, to our health, the physical health and the psychological health, our psyche. So also that we try to make no difference in the time we spend. Of course, sometimes you have to prioritize, but to make no difference between if we work with unpaid projects or if we work with well-paid projects, like self-initiated projects versus well-paid jobs, or if we do some work for our community studio, like we don't have an own studio place. We are right now in 2 cities, but we're both parts of community ateliers, community studios. So this is something where we work self-organized as a team to run our place together with other people who do design, who do arts, who do science. And so, of course, from cleaning there to doing our finance, everything we do ourselves. So this is also some work. It's all care work that is not paid, but in our everyday life, it should have the same place as the paid work. And also that we said that if we want to do some sustainable work, we have to be sustainable with ourselves. So we don't do weekend work, we don't do night shifts usually. Sometimes there's the moment where we have to, but I definitely grew up differently and with the mindset of the people that taught me, with the mindset that you always have to give 150% and you're always every project you do could be the project that you are discovered with, and you always have to give everything, and if you don't do the job, there's always somebody else who does it for less money. So this is something that puts so much pressure on everybody and within the industry. So for us, being the 2 of us together and not being alone freelancing, it's definitely more easy to take your stand, to say, no, it's not necessary, or no, it's not the regular thing that I'm working every day, even on the weekend. And it took us some years, but right now we are managing to have a 4-day week and not working on the weekend, and somehow making our way. And I really love this about that kind of teamwork. Yeah.
I think Laura brought up important point, especially about one of our agenda today, our work-life balance. The biggest challenge when I first became freelance was exactly that one. Like I don't like working a lot, but because I work with a lot of American companies and also European companies, I need to sometimes respond to emails or have meetings at nighttime or super early mornings. And that first felt like I'm working all day, every day. You know what I mean? Like, and also their Friday is my Saturday, so kind of need to work on Saturday or something. But after 5 years, I kind of got my new clock. Like, yes, I have to work sometimes late hours or sometimes very early mornings, but I have free afternoon because no one bugs me at that time. So, from 12 p.m. to like 5 or 4 p.m., I can walk my dog or have some free time and then go back to work if I have to work late that night. So it's about time management. You need to do time management by yourself, and that's kind of difficult at first because you have to come up with your schedule. But once you get that schedule, it's easy to go on a track. Like I have seasonal different schedules, like because one of my dog is black, he cannot walk outside during the summertime. It's super hot in Tokyo. It's like crazy hot, so you cannot go outside anyways. But because he's black, like he, absorbs all the heat, so we have to walk at like this hour, 10 p.m. So usually during summer, I work more in the daytime than nighttime. But during the winter time, it's like our only time we can enjoy the sunshine. So I try to leave the afternoon, like long hours for my dogs, and then come back or wake up early to do the work.
And then it's great. It was almost like unnecessary then that you went working on your own, because I can hardly imagine any company who would accept you to change your schedule because of your dogs. It would be like,
I
what?
can't do that. Like we have to go walk, so no.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put in the like I'm really bad at work-life balance. Like I don't know what that is. I'm really and I think part of it is because so I teach full time, right? So like that is where my income comes, is from teaching, and like basically most of the stuff I do related to type is more of just like my personal thing. So and I mean some of it is related to research, so that is maybe part of my job as well. Um but I think in terms of balancing like with my kids or just have so my I have a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old, so they have been a massive part of everything. But like uh the kind of like work life separation is almost impossible, and I think that part of that is the like American system of childcare is just really messed up, and family leave is really messed up. I had to take unpaid leave with both of my kids, so it was just like lighting my money on fire, because this was like before it's not even required in the US to have like paid
Wow.
leave. Yep. So it's just like this constant I don't know, like kind of just managing, like just this constant juggling act of, if the kids' daycare is closed, they're coming with me to class and they're my helper, or like I have to go in on a weekend thing and they're just like hanging out in my office, or yeah, I'm getting them on the bus in the middle of this. Like I guess for me, like I've always been very open about that, and just this idea that like my life is a hot mess, and like you get all of it with me. Like you don't just I can't just give you this like one piece. You get all of it. So just as like an example, the first typographics conference in New York, I was trying to think. I had my daughter, and I needed to like pump milk. And so I asked the organizers, I was like, do you have like a room to pump in? And they were, like Cara D'Eduardo was like on it. And she was so accommodating and like found a space in the back of Cooper Union, which was like this green room. And, I'm like carrying around this giant bag. And, like a guy was like, oh, what's in that big bag? And I was like, it's my breast pump. And the look on his face was just like, oh my God. I'm like, no, it's cool. Like this is what you get. Like you get all of it. And then, my daughter showed up at like the after party and was running around. And I guess I think in some ways, like I feel like it's good to have that openness because maybe it shows other people too, like, okay, this is totally crazy and chaotic, but you can do this and it's okay too. And I think I don't know, maybe I've lost professional opportunities because of that, but it's okay.
No,
Maybe not.
I mean,
Maybe I didn't want to work with those people anyway.
I think, you were saying it's okay. I think actually it's important to make it visible because
Right.
this is the way you can function and this is the way you can bring all the great things you bring to the type world. Like if you were not doing it that way, then you couldn't do as much as you're doing. And I think also for a lot of younger people as well, like it's helpful for them to see how you're actually managing it. Like it's, this is reality. And I think in that respect, it's quite important. Like I can see students often ask me about like, how do I deal with my children and my work? Or like they have very practical questions about how you handle it. So yeah, it's great that you're doing it. For me, the problem I have with that is that when my kids are around, I'm not 100% in terms of like my mental capabilities, like for work, for instance. So I love the idea of taking the children with me at a conference, for instance, but I know that it would make it so much harder for me to like get the work done. So that's the thing I'm really struggling with, is have like the two brains, like the parent brain and the designer brain. And it's like they really struggle to talk to each other somehow. So, but yeah, I think if things were a little bit more like you describe, and if it was just normal, maybe I would manage to make it function better.
I think it's very important that it has to be visible. Like I personally don't have kids or married, but I also start teaching at my alma mater from this April. And I was talking with my professor, and he wanted to hire a lot of female professors, but there are like much less female type people in Japan. It's like to the point like you maybe know 3 people and then that's it. And if they have kids, then they are not going to be able to work at the university because, of course, Amy and Alice will understand, but it's a full-time job, right? Teaching is full-time job, but being a mom and having a family is also a full-time job. So, and also Japan is not really, one of the very accommodating country as well. So they just say, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna focus on the family, which is right thing to do. But because of that, like students lose the chance to, especially female students lose the chance to see their role models. So like maybe 98% of the professors are male, and their way of working is all, of course, like old style. Like they don't go home, they don't wash. Like they tell you to cut the hair short because it just takes time to dry. And so I think it's really important that younger people do see what it's like to also have a family and like life, but also do like professional work. Like I'm so sad that I can't show that by myself, but I just hope the culture and the system becomes more like visible.
I think this is so important because it really, I mean, we as a group, I think, are fairly educated on the matter. Like, even though we have different experiences and we've seen different sides of the same coin, not everybody is, and it's all linked. It's all like, that's why it's so important to be intersectional in your feminism. That's why it's so important to talk to people who have different lives and have different families and different jobs and all those things. But something that you raised here, really, which really, really annoys me actually, and is really so important to talk about, is the fact that so many men are allowed to be successful because of the sacrifice of women. And like, I saw this crazy, oh God, it was an Instagram reel or something. And it was this woman talking about a podcast, those podcasts that are like Diary of a CEO. And it's always a man being like, oh yeah, I dropped everything when I was 18 and I slept on the couch and eventually got a $10 million business. Like, okay, great. But this particular man had a child when he was 17 and then spoke about it as if it was nothing. It was like, yeah, the child stayed with his mother, and I went and built the business, and moved to New York and slept on a couch, and it was just like, whoa, hang on a minute, like, you had a child, left him, built your business, and you don't even talk about that, like talk about everything that the child's mother allowed you to do. And there's still so much of that, even in like the way that we force people to be seen as professional. Like, I've managed people who were parents, and do I care if there's a child on somebody's lap or if my employee is breastfeeding? No, like, I genuinely don't. But I think a lot of people still do. And you've just said, you've experienced it yourself. If that's the only way that we allow people to be professional, without kids, without distractions, with a perfect schedule, with somebody basically taking care of everything else that allows them to be full-time parents, then it doesn't give a lot of options in terms of, as you said, role models of what we see as success. And I think being visible with those things is so important, whether it's childcare or, I don't know, caring for family or all of the invisible care work. I really want to see more of that. And it's something that I thought about a lot when, my employees, my employees sounds horrible, not mine, but like team members messaged me, being like, oh, hey, my son fell and hurt his head and we have to go to the hospital. I'm like, yeah, obviously go to the hospital. Like, the thing you were working on can wait. I know that I don't care, but I know that a lot of people do. And it's really unfair that, there's a very narrow way of being seen as professional and successful. Because really, that way, the antiquated way, was only ever possible anyway, because most of the time women did all the work. So it's, I just want to see more mess, more chaos, more like, hey, here's my breast pump, do you have a room? Like, we need more of that. And it can't be seen as unprofessional, because it's not just life.
I mean, one good step would be on a, let's say, governmental level, that actually this, as you said, unpaid care work, which it is, would be recognized as work, and not be seen as something kind of default that women just do, right? And then they don't even get a pension. So this is a big problem for a lot of housewives who never worked in their life in a kind of business sense, but they were caring for children and then later on parents. So this is where that's my age now. Yeah, I mean, that's at some point you move from, okay, I don't have kids, but from kind of the kids to the parents caring, and it's tough, and there's not much support, I can tell you. Yeah. So that would be the first steps. I mean, I know that, of course, this is not a new discussion, and there are organizations or governmental parties who try to push for this, but in general, still overall society or the kind of on a governmental level, it's not there. We are not there yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if feminism has made a lot of change. The original one, let's say from the 60s, 70s, like a lot of sacrifices, and where we are at now, those women who started, it's still, I mean, there's plenty to do. Even if you look at the current kind of pressures that young kids, girls mostly, but boys perhaps as well, experience as being the beauty idol. No, sorry, we are now going completely away from.
From what? Sorry, I think it just
From
cut.
typography. We're kind of, I'm sidetracking. Sorry, so I'm gonna shut up.
Not at all.
No.
I mean, I think about like at least I think about like your Women in Type project, looking at the kind of workers, the women that were working at Monotype, and what their lives were like, and who was chosen, you know, or who decided to do this, and like what the limitations were that they had in terms of this as a career option. And of course, like youth was favored. There was like, I think about that a lot, and I'm you know, just doing a lot of like reading about you know, women in the US that were working at print shops, or in the UK. I mean, it is a very narrow view, but just thinking about that now, and like, of course, a lot has changed, but there are still these same like very similar kind of societal pressures in some way. I'm like curious about how you're thinking of about all of this has changed
Absolutely.
or not.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was one of the things we found out with Fiona Ross when we were doing the research, was that we were trying to track women who had worked in type drawing offices, like at Monotype, Linotype, and other places. And it was actually quite difficult because a lot of them only worked in type for a short part of their career, and then they moved on and did completely different things. And so they didn't really see the point in sharing with us their experience, because either they felt like they didn't really have anything interesting to say, or they felt that their memory would fail them, so they would not say things that were worth like listening to. And yeah, it was, and actually if you look, you know, even now when you're trying to, like, if you do research about type history, and recent type history as well, it's very hard to find women in the industry who have stayed in type design. Like even like some of my models like Susanna Lichko or Carol Trombley, you know, they don't talk that, like they're not very keen on discussing publicly their experience, and they've moved on to other things. And so to me, it really is a question of like, how do you build a career long term in, you know, on the long term in type design, and how is it sustainable? Like, and that's where I find this idea of role models is super important, because it's been somehow easier to find these kind of models in like academia, because somehow the path, I don't know, there is something about the structure. It's somehow it's easier to project a career. Whereas I find, and again, I think Veronika is your wonderful example of that, of a woman who can build a career over like a number of decades and grow a business and be successful and keep on authoring your own typefaces. I mean, that's, to me, for example, is really a question of like, you know, if you look at women's career in type design on the long term, like how many are authoring typefaces over like 20, 30, 40 years period? And I think this is still something we need to work on and, you know, collectively acknowledge that it's still a path that needs to be somehow widened. I don't know what the right word is for that. Yes, there is room for growing in that sense. Is that I feel that it's much easier to project myself in academia than in the industry, because there are very few women at the moment who have made that long-term career path.
But I think that it, in a way, it's perhaps there's a better chance now that there will be women moving into these roles of having their own company perhaps, or continuing designing, because simply there are many more women who started type design over the last
Exactly.
10
Yeah.
years, right? So it's this kind of new generation, and in a way with our scholarship, that's what we try to do, to enforce and encourage talent, and especially where we can for women. But yeah, it's hard, and I do think it does relate to the whole family decision. Yeah, or kind of so do I want a family? How is it working then with the kids? And do I have a partner who supports? Do I have the structure around me who supports? Because let's be honest, running your own business, especially in type business, I mean, any kind of business, I imagine, but within the type industry, as it is now, it's hard. It's not easy. And it became much harder because the industry, the environment, the economics just got harder, and the models of licensing, the models of selling your fonts, of kind of getting your ideas out there, it became really tough. Yeah, because it's such a mass of new work and good work, and a lot of bad work still, but getting attention from potential buyers is really, it's not as easy as 10 years ago. We have the whole AI. It's a topic that will affect type, definitely. And I see a shift from a lot of people shifting from self-initiated projects to custom work, because that's where you can still kind of make a living. Yeah, making a living from only 2-3 typefaces, I think it's almost impossible unless you hit really the jackpot. Yeah, I mean, you hit something that sells so well, at least for some time. But that became even harder. So it's all a bit interconnected. I mean, I don't want to sound too gloomy and doomy and negative. Because I do think it's still a very important industry or cultural asset that we have, and to shape our environment and our culture. And AI is not necessarily our worst enemy. Yeah, it's
I don't think you're being doomy and gloomy. I think you make a really good point that really behind all of the questions that we're asking ourselves today, it's about economics. Like even, surviving as women, like finding your independence, as you said, making family decisions literally based around economics. Like I think that's true for all of us. And I think it's really important to talk about it, because are you independent? Is it sustainable? Do you have multiple income streams? Is all of your business tied to, one platform or two that could disappear? Like that's all super, super important. And I do think that women, specifically because of family planning questions and the amount of care work that we do, probably think about this stuff more. Like I think about that stuff a lot, and I still have time to make family decisions. I'm not in a rush, but I don't know. Like at this point, it feels way more like an economic decision than a family decision or an emotional one, which is crazy. I wish it didn't.
Like what I struggle the most these days is that as I told you, I don't have kids or married, and I am not planning to have any. That's my own decision. So that means I have more kind of a free time, and I can do whatever I want, and kind of free from all the responsibilities, right? So I'm trying to break all the like female barriers, especially like in Japan. Like it's so outdated and behind. So I'm trying to be like not soft at all, or not like not trying to read the room too much, because just females are just expected to be like, matching everyone's like mood and stuff. But at the same time, students or younger designers are not they don't have the same goals as I do. They might want families, and they might want to have kids in early stages, and that's good. And if they end up not continuing the professional life, I think that's okay too. That's completely their free decision to make. And I'm sure that's also going to be a very fulfilling life. But for now, because like Japan is still struggling with feminism, like in Korea too, like there's a lot of um, opinions that if you do not continue the professional life once you get married, you're just like very, you know what I mean? Like an unprofessional, not a good choice kind of a opinions in the society. And I don't think that's good either. I think I hope I'm making a sense here. Like sorry, it's 11 p.m., so my head isn't making a complete good sentence. But what I'm trying to say is that we as a female do not have to be pressured to always work hard and be the best of the mom and the professional life and the everything, but also could be that too. And we're just free to do anything else. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like about giving people or giving women the choice of doing whatever they want to do, and not judging those choices, and giving the possibilities to make those things happen. Yeah, that's sorry.
No, I was just going to say, to resonate with that, I can share a little anecdote. When we were doing the Women in Type research with Fiona Ross, we went to interview Patricia Saunders in Wales. And Patricia, she was the type designer behind the typeface Ariel with Robin Nicholas. And she's had a very interesting career, and she was an amazing woman. Sadly, she's passed away now. And when we went to interview her, I think my son was like less than 1 year old, and I was living in France. But so I traveled to Wales to interview Patricia with Fiona. And she was telling me about her career and how she stopped working when she had her first child, and then she started work again when her children were grown up, like they were more older than 18 or something like this. And when she heard that I had a child, I think she was very shocked that I wasn't at home taking care of the baby, but I was actually traveling around and interviewing women about their professional careers. And she said, and I understand coming from her perspective, she said, I think the place of a woman is at home with her children, and I don't think you should be here, which could feel a bit harsh, but actually I could totally understand, like we're a different generation. But I think for me, it's also come down to accepting that maybe for other people's standard, I maybe not spend, maybe I'm not spending enough time at home or with the children or whatever, but actually, because my work is important, I think the way my life has been set up means that I can be away for a number of days, and I know that my partner can handle the kids for a week because I'm traveling, and I'm fine with it, and everybody else is fine with it, and actually the kids are fine with it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that different people will have different standards, and it goes with what Mignon you were just saying, and to some extent it also goes with what Marie was saying earlier about the fact that you can't be like top at everything, but you just have to accept that there are certain things you're not going to do as well as other people might. But if you're fine with it, then that's just it, you have to find your balance somehow.
Yeah, because if guys stop working once they have kids, they become heroes, and like that's so weird. Like we don't get to, you know, be a hero and like
I mean, even if they take their own child that they wanted, made and planned to the park, they're a hero. The bar is in hell for men. No, but it's true. Like this is what frustrates me so much. Like, and I don't even have children yet, but the bar is in hell for men. Like anything that they do, the bare minimum, dad of the year. And you know, when you agonize over every decision as a mother, I see it in my friends who have children and mothers around me of all ages and generations. They agonize over everything. Am I a good mother? Is this enough? Like, should I be here? Should I not do this? And it's still never enough. Like, you'll still get judged.
Marie, that's called the patriarchy.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's
So
what that is.
It really is. And you can never win anyway. And I don't know, like my dad traveled all the time for work when I was a kid. He was never here. And I'm not saying he's a bad dad. He just worked a lot and had a lot of business trips. But I feel like if I did that, if I decided to have a child or children and I wanted to keep a career that somewhat resembles what I have now, so a lot of traveling, a lot of teaching, a lot of different hats and, you know, things that I do, I would probably get crucified and I would be slammed as a bad mother. And I find that crazy.
Marie, can I tell you a story that when I, like any type conference I would go to when my kids were little, before, you know, somebody would always say like, where are your children? Oh, I forgot about them. What happened? I don't know. What happened? I think I left some cereal in a cat food bowl. Like, you know, like I don't think any other like dude at the conference was asked that question, you know, was ever asked that question, you know. So yeah, there is this double standard, and it's also this, like, as Alice was saying, like this mental standard of, well, like people asking you things, and then it like kind of like sends this little neuron into your brain of like, oh God, did I do something wrong? Is this okay? And that little seed of doubt. So yeah, I think it's like normalizing everything, like normalizing whatever works for you. And even if that, and that includes, I think, like to Veronika's point, like elder care as well. I think this is this is an absolute major issue. Many of us are in this sandwich generation of dealing with both, but I mean, like the elder care thing, like, right? If the excuse is you can't do something because you're taking care of your parent, like that is equally exhausting and important, and like taking pieces of your brain too.
And it's such a part of life, you know?
Right. Right. And it's like, let's just normalize it as like.
Yeah, I think we should like just, I guess, try to acknowledge that life is chaos and not such clear, like there's no clear boundaries between life and like personal life and professional life. Like everything is all intertwined, and we have to accept that. Like the patriarchal system has been made in a way to like really split everything and make things easier for men to do their job or do whatever they want to do, and then put everything else onto women.
But also going back to economics, that system was built when one income could support a family of like 4 or 5. That doesn't exist anymore. Like those days are long gone, and most working families have to have both parents working to even just make it. I'm not even talking about getting rich. I mean, just like surviving. So how unfair is that? Like both parents have to work. Most of the time it falls on the mum to take care of a lot of things. And then you still get slammed for it? Come on. Like that's the number one reason why I'm scared to have a baby. Like it's really unfair. It shouldn't be like that. And I agree with you, Lisa, like work-life balance is, I don't know, that's just life really. You don't have a work life and a life, you just have a life and you try to do your best with it.
Yeah, then we also shouldn't make shouldn't have to make those choices between having children or not, having a partner or not, or like this should be just part of life as it is. And it feels like I don't know. I only know a little bit of how things are in typography, and when a type designer wants to do a typeface, it's such a precise task. You have to like focus everything onto one thing, onto one curve, one shape of a serif, and do only that. It could be doing that for like years, and it's so contradictory for like as a woman. Like, in what world could someone who has to take care of just only herself, like as a person, as a body, or an organic being, having to take care also for the job, perfect like projects to sell and to live from. Yeah,
But
I forgot what I was.
no, I think also here you're raising an important point, which is also that you need to be able to have times when you can completely focus on things. Like for me, this is an aspect that I find sometimes quite frustrating, because I find that I focus really well kind of late afternoon. It took me a while to work that out, but things when I really get deep into, I don't know, writing an article or designing a typeface and just like be really productive is something that will start after like 3 o'clock in the afternoon until maybe 7 or 8 in the evening. And that way of working is really not very compatible with family. So I'm being the not very good mom by like picking up my kids from childcare the latest possible, which is like 6:30, which for a lot of people it sounds insane, but in France you can do that. You can leave your children at daycare until 6:30 in the evening, but it means that I can get some work done, maybe not as much as I would like, but I do find that it is important to have these kind of like continuous hours when you can really just focus and not be disturbed. And it goes with Virginia Woolf, Room to One's Own, like where you just need to have your own space as well to be able to get stuff done sometimes.
Yeah, very true. Having focus is quite difficult sometimes. Okay, I don't have kids, but I have a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
And sometimes and that kind of increased, and sometimes I have the feeling that, wow, what did I do today? So this realization that actually having and talking with all these people, external team, is work, and accepting that took me some time.
Yeah, it's not just something you do on top of the other things. It's like
Exactly,
full
yeah.
part.
It's
Yes.
really part of your work.
I know. And some days just you only have meetings and then like you get no work done. And like, that's just maybe Thursday or something. And you have to accept it, right?
What's everybody working on that's like something you're really excited about? Because I feel like too, it's really important that that as, this is our topic on like women and type, and like I think it's really important to just like talk about the cool stuff we're doing too, because it's easy to, I don't mean to like shift it completely, but I know we only have a little bit of time left, and I'm just curious what you're working on that you're excited about.
I'm actually working on a PhD proposal. I'm trying to do a PhD at Reading with Jerry.
Oh, wow.
And my proposal is done. It's just the money I have to get ready. I wanted to do it in the UK, but I'm probably going to do it from here part-time. Financially that's easier.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Keep us posted.
Thank you. That's the most exciting thing that's happening in my life.
I can tell. Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but I'm working on a super exciting project at the moment on a book which should come out this year, about an important lady of typography, which I'm not going to mention because I'm not sure the publishers will agree to that. But so I'm working with a super cool team of other women, and we've been writing texts, and we've been working on translations into French of some of this women's writings. And yeah, it's going to be a super cool book. And I'm not answering any of the questions in the chat.
You can't wink. You can't do like a wink if we just like start saying letters or like throwing out names. No. So, okay.
Not saying, doing anything.
Okay.
But it's going to be great.
Okay, well, when is it coming out?
It should come. The French version is going to come out in September, should be,
Okay.
and we hope
That's really
the
soon.
English version will come out later. But yeah,
Okay,
I
cool. Please, I'm not gonna, I can't learn French anymore.
no, but we're definitely working on an English version as well. I promise.
let's raise a crystal goblet to that. I'm sorry, it had to be said, but I mean, yeah, whatever it is, I'm sure it will be great.
Yeah, and within this year, it's not that long. We can wait.
Yes.
You can't say publisher. You can't give us any little.
Well, I
No,
should have
nothing.
checked.
Oh, we're
I
trying
should have
so hard.
checked with them beforehand. I should have checked what can I say, what can I not say. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to get in trouble.
We
You
won't
won't.
pressure. No more pressure.
Who is the publisher?
I'm not saying it's
Okay,
a
no,
French.
sorry,
It's a
sorry.
French publisher. It's a
Okay,
French
sorry.
publisher.
We
And
really pulled a lot
we-
out. We're really
we
good.
still need to find a publisher for the English version. If you know any good people, put me in touch, please.
I might have somebody.
All right.
Well, we are working on something really, really nice, and the biggest project we ever done. I can't say what because it's very harsh. It's actually a very first let's say revival that Jose and me are doing, but it's a massive extension of script. The plan is to have 22 scripts by
Wow.
26. So the first batch is coming out now in summer this year, and the second batch next year. But it's a super important typeface. It will have its century in 2 years. So yeah, I can't say more to that. But that's super
super.
exciting. We will also do a book. There will be for sure kind of exhibition, hopefully within the VDC, which is the World Design Capital in Frankfurt next year. And yeah, we just finished a Primarium book. You might know about our project Primarium. We just finished the book. It's going to print, I think, next week or so. So I'm super excited about that. And we have finished the scholarship book.
Oh, brilliant.
Amazing.
You know,
Oh, wow.
we are having next week exhibition opening in Den Haag during Fun-Stand.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Can I ask, Vic, how many typefaces through the scholarship? How many typefaces have you published so far?
10. It's 10.
Okay, brilliant.
I mean, published actually 8. The 9th is coming. Politic is coming now, end of March, and Endorphins is well next year.
Okay.
But yeah, it's 10 years scholarship, 10.
Wow.
Wow. That's
Sounds
amazing.
like, yeah, sounds like this year
most
there's
of
a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I was saying, it's just crazy. A lot happened since last year. Well, actually, since mid-23 when we started, and the Primarium started in 22, and that's continuing. So actually, that's another thing. We just finished an application for Erasmus Plus. funding. So yeah.
Wow, you've got too much going on. No one can beat you.
No, I know. So yeah.
In the
So you see
spirit of
the kind of the work-life balance
yeah.
is
Well,
a bit the window.
on that note, in the spirit of being more transparent, I would love to share about something that's absolutely not work related. I actually feel pretty happy with my work goals right now, and I feel like I actually need, for my own mental health and my own happiness, I'm devoting this year to other things. Like I'm still working, I'm still doing things that I'm proud of, but I really need this year to be about me as a person. And what day is it today? Today, Friday. 2 days ago, we officially, with my partner, signed the papers on our first flat together. So we purchased our first home, and it's really, really, really exciting. I'm so happy.
Congratulations.
I don't know if anybody knows how the process works in the UK, but it feels like it was designed to make you want to jump off a cliff. Like it's really stressful until the last minute. And this literally just happened. So that will be a completely new chapter for us. I'm excited to focus on
Wow.
that as a creative project as well, like all of the decoration, sourcing furniture and just having fun with it as an outlet. I'm really excited about that. So sorry, no type, not type related. Type will be back in 2026.
Congratulations. I just hope there is no renovation involved. Good.
No, it's light renovation work. No, we bought a place that it needs work, like it needs a bit of love, but there's no like no, I don't have the mental strength for that, not yet.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, I mean, I bought this house 12 years ago and it was an absolute mess. And it's very, very stressful to live in a building site, I can tell you, for years. So, trying to build your business in the meantime, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but you managed.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I mean, my marriage didn't survive, but I did.
No, I
Maybe
think having a non-type related project is really important. It keeps you actually more motivated to type world. Like my dog training is that like having two different communities, like if I get a little bit of tired of type, like sometimes, like I go to a dog training community to get like refreshed, and then like because I'm like, not even I think of us all, but not even ankle deep, but like neck deep into type world. Like I of course want to go back to type like right away. And so like I just chit chat over here and then like come back to work. It's really important. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, you're right. And it's, it goes back to many topics that we've brushed on today. Like I gave so much of my youth, my energy, and my motivation to my career. And I'm so grateful to what it has done for me. But I need to consciously make that step of being grateful for it and focusing on other things as well. Because if I don't nurture all those parts of me, then I'm going to be, I think, very bitter in a few years. And I don't want that. I want to, as you just said, like keep my love for it intact, be able to like take a step back and then come back to it.
Sure, that's important.
And Laura, you like you're wrapping up everything from the exhibition last year, right? So that's like it was a big thing last year, and
Yes.
I was curious to hear about how was the experience doing this big exhibition with so many great projects from so many people. Like I'm just so sad that I couldn't see the exhibition in person, but from the pictures, it seemed like quite a big thing. And I don't know if you have even done that before, like any previous exhibition before. Was it your first? And with so many people involved in it,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was also pretty chaotic at some point.
Yes, very much. But we we like the way we worked. We also had a big influence by the Martha Scottford essay, the Messy History essay. So we said, yes, we will have it messy. We will accept the mess of life. And I mean, we were 7 people in the team curating the exhibition. So while me and 2 others were working on, okay, which contemporary positions do we want to display? The people from the museum were working on their own archive and researching the archive. So also they found some works and some oeuvre that they didn't even have in mind that the archive there was holding. So it was really exciting. And I think until the point that we set up the whole exhibition, none of us knew all the content, all the projects. So it was really a bit messy, but I really, really liked the project and the process of it. And I learned so much. And I think the best thing of it that I took from it was that I had an excuse to contact a lot of cool type designers that I followed before, and now I had the topic that I could approach them and get to know each other via video call or via email. Sometimes we were able to meet personally, but most of the people were from that far away that they couldn't make it to the exhibition like you, or that we couldn't meet in person. But it was so cool to have the exchange with all that lovely people and to hear that, of course, every background is so different, but still so many experiences are so similar. And to talk about that and to feel like, okay, I'm not alone with this experience and I'm not alone with my point of view. And yeah, this was really nice. And it was not the first exhibition we were a part of and we curated, but it definitely was the one I loved most concerning the topic, because I mean, this is a topic that was relevant to us since we studied, and we were dealing with it a lot and researching a lot. And so now really putting all that into an exhibition was just amazing. Yeah. Wouldn't like to miss it.
I think it's great that something like this exhibition happened, because as you said, showing that you're not alone in this chaotic life is super important. And not only it helps you to feel better in a way, but it also shows other people that, yeah, like it's okay to not have any life and work balance or anything, and showing that you can still do incredible things even with chaotic schedules and things like that. But Amy, you're also working on the book, and I don't know how has it been like?
Yeah.
Is it
So
going?
it's going. Yeah. So I have been working. I'm just going to put in the chat that so Alphabets turns 10 in September 2025. That was when the blog first started and the group first kind of came together. So I floated this idea of a book a while ago, and it's kind of something that's slowly been evolving, but it's for real now, and it's happening. And we're publishing with Bikini Books, which is an amazing independent feminist publisher based out of Porto. Nina Paim has been like amazing, and working with Karen Litherland is our copy editor, who's been amazing on the other side. And so we have like 75 contributors. A few of them are here in the room with us right now, including Lisa and Alice and Veronika. And I mean, it's really just like a crazy project. And yeah, absolutely cannot happen. These kind of things like cannot happen. I'm sure, Laura, like you understand, like they cannot happen without the chaos. Like it's a chaotic kind of thing, and that's just, I've kind of embraced and accepted that. But yeah, so the goal is to come out for September 25 for our 10-year anniversary of Alphabets. Hopefully we'll get close to there. It's a big project, so it's 75 authors, and each article is typeset in a different typeface.
Wow.
How many
So it's gonna
pages to the book?
function. I'm sorry?
How many pages to the book?
We're looking at like 368.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and Teresa Bertinardi is the designer
She's
of
fantastic.
it. She's amazing. I don't think she realized what she's gotten herself into. No, she's wonderful. She knew we kind of, this idea, because in a way, this question of like, well, there's no women that are like, I don't know of any women that are designing typefaces. It's like, well, here's your answer. I mean, all of these things are kind of answers to this question, right? And so we're kind of working to, use typefaces by women and non-binary individuals for the whole book, each article in a different typeface. So it will kind of function as a type specimen as well. So right now we're in the process of editing and typeface curating, and it's a big soup. It's alphabet soup is what it's called, because that
By the
was,
way, I love that title. Alphabet soup is fantastic.
we've gotten a little out of control with like the food metaphors. It's gotten a little bit like no one wants to talk to us anymore. But yeah, so tomorrow the Alphabets started this International Women's Day 24-hour hangout. Talk about chaos. So this was an idea we came about like before COVID, and it was just like, let's just have a online chat and just keep it on for 24 hours, and like people can just join and leave when they want and come when they want and just have these kind of conversations. So that will start in I don't know, like at midnight my time. I'm gonna drink some coffee today.
In a few hours, yeah.
Yeah, in like 9 hours, something like that. No, more than that. I don't even know anymore. I have like some kind of time converter thing, but at midnight tonight. So wherever you are tomorrow, you can join in, go to alphabets.org, and the link will be there, and come and hang out.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
it sounds
Lisa,
like,
for this, by the way.
of course, like thank you for joining and spending so much time with with me and everyone. Yeah, that's well, I think that it's almost time now, and I'm sure you all have things to do, and Min, you want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if I can say some final words, or if you have some final words as well, please go on. But I think it's always good, and it's always like it's never gonna be too much, but celebration for our ability to manage so many things all at once, and also empathy. That's something that not that many people have, even among women, I would say. So empathy is so important, and caring for other people's lives and things like that. It's I feel like everyone here in the room have that naturally almost. Like we would always think about other people and how other people's lives are going, and yeah, so embracing chaos and embracing people's empathy and our ability to do many things at the same time, it's something that should be acknowledged and celebrated, and yeah, pushed forward always.
Thank you, Lisa. This has made me wonder how many of us are eldest daughters in the room.
I'm
Yeah,
the
but
youngest.
even
So.
yeah, I think
Guys
even
might
just
hate
being
me.
a daughter is
Yeah.
Hard.
well, there
Thank you so
were
much.
16 maximum. It went as high as 22 people watching from YouTube. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Thank
it's
you. I had
Thank
so
you.
much fun.
Thanks for the invitation. It was really good to speak with you all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to all. It was fun.
Yeah, thanks for making it possible. And I'm so happy right now being in at least a digital room with people whose work I follow, people who were role models for me during studies. And yeah, cool to meet you all.
Likewise.
Bye.
Well, if if everyone, yeah, let's stay. I can't finish, but
Let's stay in
let's
touch.
say yes. Yeah. Thank you. Let's stay in
Thank you,
touch.
Lisa.
Have a great day, everyone, and
Bye.
see some of you maybe tomorrow for the 24 hours hangout.
Yeah, let's try.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
See you all.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.